weekday wrestling, a time to wrestle with the Word of God and make space for His transforming work. Okay, so this week we focused on a gospel on Luke chapter 15, in particular verses 1 through 10. And you gave us some background that we're in the middle of the lost and found parables.
Right.
And when I talked with some friends, I guess Monday, we found this idea of that there's an expectation, and then a twist as Jesus was getting to the point of saying, which one of you, was kind of his question to the people. And I really thought about this question from the standpoint of, you told us that this gives us some insight into ourselves. So can you kind of review for us and give me a little bit of a summary of that?
So we're on the road from Galilee to Jerusalem, the road of transformation, and the Pharisees have come and they've said, "Wow, this Jesus he eats with tax collectors and sinners," and so Jesus begins these lost and found parables. So the parable of the lost sheep and the parable of the lost coin, and then we come to the one that is the third in the rule of three. And so we have this expectation set up of something's lost, something's found, there's a celebration, and now we come to what we've traditionally called the prodigal son.
Yeah.
And there's this twist because the one son goes away, he comes back, he's found, there's a celebration, and then there's this other son that's lost, and the father actually goes to find the lost son who is the one that remained. Yeah. And so Jesus allows us to look at, wow, what does that reveal to us about ourselves? One, in the first two parables we have the owner of sheep, the which one of you, that looks out and he counts the sheep, and there are 99 that are there, but what he notices is the one that's missing. When the woman's counting her coins, she sees the 9 that are there, but she notices the one that is missing. And I mean, we do that all the time. We look for the thing that's missing.
Well, I have to tell you, the first thing I thought of, I mean, after teaching children, being an educator, and even teaching preschool, Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Which of these things is not like the other?
Yeah, so I mean, I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that, but we are cued even in ourselves to look for the thing that's different, and to look for the thing that's like. If we walk into a crowded room, we look for, wow, who are the people that I think are going to be like me? Who do I? And so we have this
same thing
visual.
as relating to. When you say like me, somebody I can talk to, somebody I can relate to. Okay.
Yeah, someone who's part of my tribe.
Okay.
And so by the way they dress, by the way they look, by gender, by even skin color, unfortunately, the first thing that we look at is who's going to be part of my tribe, who's going to be most like me. And then, unfortunately, our other tendency is to make ourselves feel more comfortable by making someone else be the lost one. We want to be the 99 and not the lost. We want to be the Pharisee who's in rather than the tax collector that's out, and do everything that we can to keep those who are out so that our status as in is not disrupted. I actually thought when you talked about education, when we look at grading papers, we may make a mark around the things that are right, but we make this big X over things that are wrong. And we go back.
I didn't do much of that in preschool.
But I mean, homeschooling, and you go back and you review the things that are wrong, and we miss the opportunity often to praise what is right and to look at that.
So this is a reality about our existence and about walking in the world. But we do kind of have this challenge to be in the world but not of the world. So my question for you in this video then is, how do we intentionally combat this? How do we come back?
Yeah, so I mean, the first is to recognize.
Yeah,
we recognize that we do have this bias to negativity, this bias to, as we look forward, what might go wrong, what might be a threat, what might be a danger. There's good to that. There is very much good to to being aware of the things that might go wrong, how we might mitigate that. But it also, taken too far, it leads us to worry and this paralysis of fear. And, one of the easy ways that we combat that is with the practice of gratitude, of intentionally noticing and giving thanks for the things that go right. And we see that in the parables. Something's lost, something's found, and there's rejoicing. Gratitude is our practice of rejoicing every day and noticing those things that are right, those things that are complete, those things that are good. The other thing that we do is sometimes we get into the habit of being lost, of being the victim, of being in psychology we call that learned helplessness. And so we can practice learned hopefulness.
Okay.
Simply by saying again, what is going right, what is the hope that God has for us, and looking at that hopefulness. And ultimately worship is the way that we do that. I'm studying Revelation now, and there's always a nugget in there that you say, wow, I'd never looked at it that way. And when we look at the scenes of worship in Revelation, and so we have this pattern in Revelation of things in the world are bad. There's this cosmic battle between God and the forces of evil. God wins. and then there is worship. And at the end of that winning, the celebration is worship. And when we look at those scenes of worship, the comment was to notice how non-human centric they are. And so we have God in the middle. We have these angelic creatures that don't even look human. And oftentimes we have the angels that come and visit that look human like. These don't even try to look human like. They're so otherworldly that those are the ones that are closest to God. And then we have other angelic beings, and then we have the multitude of people, and to recognize that we're the multitude and God is the one who is worshipped and God is the one who wins. In that act of worship, we learn our hopefulness. And we can put all of that together in a practice that we've talked about before, the examen. And the examen teaches us to one, look to God, to allow ourselves to be God-centered and God-focused, to ask God to reveal to us the things that we are thankful for, to start with gratitude, and then to review our day, both the things that have gone right that we celebrate and the things that have not gone right that we lift up to God in prayer, and then to end in a hopeful future. And so that practice of the examen is a way that we, one, recognize and honor our propensity to say, wow, some things went wrong. It keeps us from being this Pollyanna-ish,
right.
Everything's glorious, everything's good, even when it's not. It recognizes that there are things that are missing. It also recognizes the things that are present, and it gives us the opportunity to rejoice in gratitude for the things that are found.
Well, thank you for that insight. We're so glad that you were able to join us today as we, during our weekday wrestling, as we wrestle with the Word of God and make space for His transforming work. Bye.
Bye-bye.